Just a bit of a 的工匠。
Looks like a lot of kids are still coming in, so maybe we'll try to aim for like 6:35. Lisa Shambaz. Okay.
We're already.
We're rolling. Okay. Hi, anyone that's there. Thank you for watching.
慢了，这儿。
来，最后一边了，
Say again?
最后一边了，或者到底下面是。中间了。
Look, come here, girl.
started. Good evening and welcome to the 2026 Poetry Festival hosted by the Storm King School. This year marks the 10th anniversary of this event. Over the years, the festival judges have reviewed over 1,500 poems from students attending more than 30 different schools. Over 1,500 poems. Each one of those poems represents an act of courage and of vulnerability. In poetry, you cannot hide. Each word you selected, each pause, each sound was chosen for its ability to most powerfully convey an emotion, an experience, a feeling, and a truth. Thank you to all the students here today and over the past 10 years for sharing your poems with us. This festival takes a lot of work and coordination. Thank you to Festival Coordinator Alex Van Atkins for managing the call of submissions, review process, and contest prizes. Thank you to our two judges, Joanna Solfrian and Zoe Ryder-White. And thank you to Sofia Grosso and Jasmina Guerrier, and many other faculty members and students who helped with the coordination, planning, and logistics of this evening's festivities. Please give them all a round of applause. And now I'd like to introduce Sofia Grosso, who will provide an explanation of the festival process. Thank you.
This year's contest began like every other year, with a call for submissions to high schools across the Hudson Valley and Northeast. Each entrant was invited to submit up to 3 poems in the open category, which welcomes all styles, themes, and approaches, and 1 poem in the style of a ghazal for the special category poem. The ghazal form embraces rhyme and repetition in a unique way, creating a kind of musical call and response within the poem. It is a special request from our judges to include it in this year's contest. In total, we received nearly 200 poems from 22 different schools. After reviewing all the submissions, our judges selected 20 finalists, along with 1 special category winner. The poems we celebrate tonight move from observations of the natural world to explorations of identity, belonging, and conflicts in society. Many of these writers are wrestling with big questions that shape their generation: mental health, gender, race, immigration, and the inheritance of family stories. Together, their work shows that the young adults in our world are paying close attention to the world around them, to the histories they've inherited, and to the kind of lives they want to claim for themselves and the people they love. Tonight, our judges will read and comment on 21 poems across categories, highlighting what makes each poem compelling and distinct. Afterwards, our judges will announce our top 3 standout poems before we invite all of the finalists to the stage to accept their awards. We will then have them remain up here for a group photo with our judges. I now invite Ms. Jasmina Guerrier to the podium to introduce our 2 distinguished judges.
This is Zoe Ryder-White's 4th year serving as a judge for the festival. Her poem has appeared in the Torpedo Quarterly, Enduring Plume, and the 3 Penny Review, among other journals. Her first full-length collection, The Visible Field, was recently published by River Books. In addition to this collection, her chapbook, Via Post, was a finalist for Torpedoes Press Snowbound Chapbook Award and won the 6th Finch Chapbook Contest in 2022. Hyperpace, published by Factory Hollow Press, was the Editor's Choice selection for the first Thomas Solomon Prize in 2020. She is also a co-author of A Study in Spring and Elsewhere. Zoe previously worked as a poet in the schools with the Teachers and Writers Collaborative, teaching poetry to students in New York City from kindergarten through high school. She was also a classroom teacher at 3 different public schools in Queens, Manhattan, and Brooklyn. She now edits books for educators about the craft of teaching and lives in the Hudson Valley with her husband, 3 children, and 3 cats. Joanna Sofren is joining us for her 6th year as a judge. Joanna attended Trinity College in Connecticut, where she earned her BA in English with a minor in education. She received her MFA from the University of Southern Maine's Stone Coast MFA program. She has taught at the University of Hartford, Southern Connecticut University, and Kent State University. She is the author of 4 books of poetry, Visible Heaven, The Mudroom, Temporary Beast, and a chapbook entitled The Second Perfect Number. She is a MacDowell Fellow and 6-time Pushcart nominee. Her poems have appeared in the Southern Review, Spoon River Poetry Review, and Harvard Review, among other places. She has also been featured reading her book on YouTube's Poetry channel. Her first collection, Visible Heavens, won the 2009 Stan and Tom Wicks Poetry Prize, judged by Naomi Shihab Nay. Jo has also worked as a learning specialist and tutor at 2 different learning centers in New York. She currently lives in Brooklyn with her husband and 2 daughters. Last spring, Joanna served as a visiting poet at our school, leading classroom workshops and working individually with students. We are delighted to welcome her and Zoe back to campus this evening. Without further ado, we now welcome our 2 wonderful judges to the podium for their reading.
Hi everyone, thank you so much for having us back and for putting on this festival for 10 years. That's a really amazing accomplishment, and I think you all should be really proud. We read poems about relationships, parents and friends, how to assert one's purpose in life, what aspects of the self make up an identity, and what it means to be an immigrant. The poems, nearly 200, as Ms. Grosso said, all had something to recommend them. It's really excruciating to pick 20, and if you were not among the 20 and you're not a senior, please submit again next year. I would love to say thank you to Dr. Finn Atkins, who sent us lots of emails, answered all our questions, and really did a great job organizing this whole night, and all the other people involved as well. Thank you. Zoe's going to come up for a second.
It really is a delight to be back here again for the 4th time. And as Jo said, such a gift to get to spend time with your poems. And not only, as Jo said, the poems chosen as winners, but every single one, every poem we read represents such a thoughtful and curious and motivated human being, full of emotion and life, and it continues to be such an honor to bear witness to each of these poems. And I think this year in particular, I was thinking about how special it is as we navigate the sort of deluge of non-human writing and navigate this new world. It felt really particularly special to spend time with these very human pieces. So I definitely give thanks to Dr. Finn Atkins and everyone else at the Storm King School who's worked so hard to make this possible year after year and to keep it possible. So Jo and I are going to have the pleasure of saying a little bit about each of the poems before we read them. And I do also want to encourage anyone in the audience who submitted and wasn't chosen to keep on. If you're a senior, submit elsewhere. Keep writing. I feel like we need these human poems more than ever. So without further ado, Jo's going to start the reading.
What Zoe Zoe and I loved about this first poem was how it considered the feelings of something that we don't usually think of as having feelings. Trees. Poems with expansive perspectives like this can help us improve how we take care of the world. Here is the restrained, thoughtful, empty path by Felix Wang of the Storm King School. Empty path. Wonder who cut them down first, breaking down to timbers. Sitting in the forest, you feel them, they are vivid, alive. Walking on the empty path, stepping over fallen timbers on the ground. Listen, they surround us, they cry. Trees are there, shelter us, feed us, teach us. They have always given more than we return. Now we are being disloyal to the mom that protects us. We are disloyal, we forget her gifts. We turned away, they know. Next up is a fascinating pattern poem, and I want you to notice, if you can, how the pattern continues for 4 stanzas and then changes. Questions turn into answers as stark divisions of being turn into something more communal, more blurred. It's very tightly put together. Here is the stunning What the Wind Knows by Xiaoyang Thomas He of the Pomfret School. What the wind knows. A flower's thrum. How could the spider ever guess? A spider's thrum. How could the split rail fence ever guess? A fence's thrum. How could the creek ever guess? A creek's thrum. How could the wandering wind ever guess? Ah, but the wind knew. When it whisked by, it gathered every murmur. Flower, spider, fence, creek, all their secret thrums folded into its breath. I sat there, stunned. I too sensed them stir within me, the flower's faith pulse, the spider's quick skitter, the fence's settling creak, the creek's running murmur. Later, who can say if the wind woke me or if I woke the wind? Flower, spider, fence, creek, their voices bloomed in the gust and began to dance. We danced, all of us. In that turning, I blossomed into the flower, unspun into the spider, grafted onto the grain of the fence, and ran clear as the swollen creek.
This poem has a word that I'm going to say a lot of times and may be wrong, but I'm going to do my best. Flakanaka nihilipilification is defined as the action or habit of estimating something as worthless or insignificant. It's a 29-letter noun, and it's considered one of the longest words in English. It's often used to describe cynical dismissal, which is something that's worth knowing. If you maybe did already, I did not. As we listen to the way this poet articulates the word's antithesis as he metaphorically defines it, we were really moved by his attention to a bee's trajectory, to plants growing through concrete cracks. Here's Flakanaka Nihilipilification by Charlie Lee of the Millbrook School. Flakanaka Nihilipilification. Those who keep dust between their fingers look up at the sky. Pause, as if something might be counted there. A bee crosses the air. They follow its path, only long enough to see what it might weigh. A dream is set down beside stone. The ledgers close. Morning arrives without announcement. Something bright drains itself along the edge of evening. Thunder passes. Flowers do what they do. All of it is noted, then set aside. I walk where smoke leans low against the buildings. Nothing here asks to be recorded, yet something gathers in the seam of concrete where green keeps happening, in a room dark enough for mercy to feel like warmth, in the pulse that continues without permission. No sound of payment, no paper exchanged. Still, something is kept. Still, something refuses to be returned.
I also want to take a second to say hi to the live stream people watching. Some of them were among the 20 and couldn't be here tonight, so hello. I don't know where I'm waving, but hi. We received, as other people have mentioned, many entries of poems on nationality, ethnicity, and immigration. We loved this one in particular for the defiant refrain of, "I am not dirty," how it increases in intensity as the poem grabs us by the shoulders and insists we acknowledge its humanity. Here is the important poem, Mango Seed by Neo Patel of the Piscataway High School. I am not dirty. I eat the same fruits you do. Beneath our different skins is the same flesh we cut into. Yet the skin never seems to be peeled before anyone takes a bite. I am not dirty. I wasn't planted for nothing, and I wasn't planted to be a cash crop either. Flourishing from the sides, a mother from Vadodara, father from Anand, did what only many could dream of. I am not dirty. Bathed me in the sink of our Canadian home with dolphin-themed toiletries. From the linen of the shower curtains to the coin bank sat by the sink next to the same dolphin soap dispenser, bare feet hitting the floor, leaving water all over the bronze and smooth wooden floors, with my own superhero cape, wrapping the white blanket made by my ba, speckled with green dots around my neck, crash landing the giant stuffed tiger my dad won at a fair game, catching my fall. I am not dirty. I'm not an asset to the red flag. I am more than my bruised and browned mango skin. I am not dirty. I have a name. I have a common, cultural, generational, prideful name. Patel. I am not a prodigy. I am not a waste. I am not a doll. I am not a joke to be pressured, to be pushed aside, to be lusted over, to be laughed at. I have a name. Patel. I am not dirty. I have a name. Patel. Beneath our skins, way past the flesh, we are all seeds. I am not dirty. I have a name. Patel. And I'm proud of it. When I go to cut up mangoes, I don't gawk at the dented skin or snuff the tree it grew from, knowing I eat the flesh of the fruit. Savoring the taste of the juice makes me realize my roots, my family, my culture are not the problem here at all. Appreciating the things around you, the people, their culture, their stories, their work, their words, their hardships, their uphills, their downhills, is one of the first steps to gaining self-peace. I am not dirty. I have a name, Patel.
reading this poem for the first time, I laughed aloud, I think, with delight in its intelligence and its wry humor. The language in this poem mirrors the state of mind it describes. It's a romp through double meanings, associations, distraction, energy, and the brilliance of the speaker's ADHD mind as it circles away from and back to a question he's asked. Here's ADHD by Ryan Ellison of the Millbrook School. ADHD. Performance is never about performing. The lights are bright, like the sun is on stage. Even professionals may be left in disarray. Before the stage, it was reciting lines in a fitted phrase. It's never just one subject to think about, especially for me. My condition makes it harder to focus, and the day before, I can barely eat. When it's the night of, I can barely sleep. Allow me to introduce you to my ADH. Deers are my favorite animal. From birth, they are expected to stand and run. While the damsel is in distress from giving birth, the fawn is gone by dawn. Animals are a reflection of the self. I thought I was a family man. I grew fond of a mom who said the bills would never pay itself, so I use my job as an excuse. When I tell her I'm too busy, that's what I need to sleep. I can't dream without completing my checklist. With the last mark comes the melatonin. I think I'm the only morning and night person. The last two things I do today are the same with each other. I call my mom and tell how much I love her. She taught me the Bible, and the lesson is fixed in a circle. The end is just the beginning when written in verses, check, lights, check, microphone, check. I want to know who called their mom today. Oh, I see a couple of raised hands. How'd you guys forget? You over there. What kind of animal are you? This next poem is deceptively simple. It's very hard to write a succinct, condensed poem that resonates in as many ways as this one does. The sweet potato becomes a metaphor for the self, the speaker growing into himself in the sweet company of the father and grandfather before him. This is a beautiful meditation on growing up, honoring both the culture and specificity of ones who came before and the anticipation of all that comes next. Here's Sweet Expectations by Gabriel Johnson of the Millbrook School. Sweet Expectations. The sweet potato has such big roots to fill. His father was sweet. His grandfather was sweet, just as all his forefathers were. The climate changed, rain varied, the soil was different, but the result was the same. Time is the arbiter of his truth, to ripen or to rot. The sweet potato is potential, uncertainty, and sweet expectations.
I think the author of this next poem is here. Is Sana here? Maybe not. I wasn't quite sure how to pronounce her middle name, but I'll do my best, okay? This next poem meditates on identity as both separate and overlapping with another person, specifically a mother figure. Notice how we are let into the thought process and the feeling process, if that's a thing, so that the reader seems to discover simultaneously with the speaker who and what gets to say where she belongs. Here's Sana Swain from Rye Country Day School with One Who Walks. Who would have thought that a soul name sets us apart? No, I don't share this name with anyone else. I'm alone in my name, Swain. No one else I know is a Swain. Well, not that I can give form and shape to in my mind. But even if I'm alone in my name, I'm never alone spiritually, physically, emotionally. Never alone because you never left me alone or made me feel alone. Our hair so different yet so similar, stretched to heaven like trees despite my plushy cumulus clouds and yours stratos strands, strong and daring defiance. A name doesn't ferry those genes on its back. We do. A name doesn't recommend you use Camilla Rose. You do. A name doesn't make you less my kin. No one can dictate that. I don't need a name to tell me whether or not I rant about Brianna or Selwyn to you. So the alienness of not being one who walks, not being exactly one of you, never stung, because it didn't matter. It never mattered that I'm Swain, you're Walker. Would I change it? No, never. It rolls off the lips like molasses when you call it in full, Sana Sade Swain, with a chirpy lilt at the end. I didn't know the significance of such things until you made it feel like home. You'd call my name and I feel at home. Warm, bundled, dizzying, buzzing and ricocheting in my chest like fireflies until it hurts. Would I change it? No, never, for it would squash who I was molded, hoped to be. Beautiful work of art, queen of the land. Allegedly, that's me, who I aspire to be, who I'm going to be, and ultimately you, here, there, miles back and forward, believe in me, which gave form and purpose to what I see for myself in the future. Because while a name defines you, it shouldn't define where you belong. And here I belong with you, my mother.
Borrowing its first line from Elizabeth Bishop's Villanelle One Art, this poet's speaker masterfully describes the loss of a beloved grandmother in ways that both embrace and push back on Bishop's sentiment. Full of music and the sensory details one's left with after losing a loved one, the scent of sugar, soap, and rain, we're left with a poignant admission that the missing is ongoing, unmasterable even. Here is Grandma Rady by Ava Bruel of Brimmer and May School. Grandma Rady. The art of losing isn't hard to master. They say it like a trick of careful hands, like setting china gently in a drawer or folding winter coats against the spring, as if a name could loosen from the tongue. But Grandma Rady lingers in the air between the scent of sugar, soap, and rain, her laughter braiding through the hallway walls, her palms a harbor for our shaking storms. Through trials and triumphs, she stood strong, joyful, loving, and forever the heart of her family. I see her at the stove before the dawn, light catching silver strands within her hair, steam rising soft as whispered bits of prayer. She moved through grief the way a river bends, never announcing how the current pulled. The house keeps the echo of her steps, each room aware of what it used to hold. Her couch beside the window waits at dusk. I try to practice letting silence win, but losing her is hard to master.
I've read these so many times and I'm sitting over there listening. They're still so good. Ugh. Okay, Zoe and I kept texting about this next poem because we found it so appealingly strange. When we talk about people understanding poems, we usually mean intellectually. But what we liked about this poem was that it made emotional sense. The language is fresh and haunting. Here's Mother by Ziming Jenny Chen of the Storm King School. Mother, I encountered a dream on a road, dressed in zebra-striped pajamas, yawning lazily as if waking from the stars. Then the gust of wind blows. I heard your voice, saw your face, even smelled your breath. Oh, Mother, soothe me not. Under the somber gleam and fall into your peace embrace, let all. For the entire night, I tried to explain the endless landscape between me and thee. Days stretch like fields, nights pile like stones. Mother, I waited forever to seek thee. I waited 200 years. I encountered a box at the end of the road, opening it up with a blinding sight. The day I woke, my dear soul sobbed with every piece of silence. This next poem we admired especially for its completeness. With fresh and precise language, especially verbs, it explores the implications of how someone can be wronged because of a physical trait, left-handedness here. But it's also even more about a daughter's love for her mother, in that the poem itself attends to the mother's humanity. Here is the lovely and sensitive Unleft Hand by Hana Tsai of the Spence School. Unleft hand for my mother. The world does not accommodate her. She was born this way, a secret she crumpled into her left palm, a small tool of rebellion. Her teachers corrected her posture and floated her pencil from left hand to right. They labeled her stubborn for refusing to cross over, lining her up with the other wrong-handed girl. They were told to watch one another, two mirrors gone slanted. At home, her mother dialed the principal. Can't you just let her be? Still, the pencil shoved into her right hand, stiff and foreign as a lie. Still, the teacher insisted, this is easier, better. But switching implied betrayal of her own hand. As the graphite bruised the heel of her hand, her proof of resistance glimmered in the schoolhouse's fluorescence. Now she slices her fingers open, cutting apples with knives made for another mother's grip. Her bra clasps twist, meant for the reach of a different pair of feminine hands. The enter key stares up at her, wrong-footed. Even doorknobs defy her, turn opposite ways. On the subway, her Metro card releases the turnstile with the wrong hand, scrolling the news upside down. The world tilts away from her, not toward. Still, the right hand doesn't resent the left. Together, mine write this. It took us a second to understand that last line together. I write this because she's like, yeah. So time passing, inventions, yeah. Okay, before we get to this next poem, don't go next. It'll feature a piece of art by Norman Rockwell. I'm just going to give a quick content warning that the piece of art contains a racist slur painted faintly in the middle, and it's a word that Norman Rockwell uses intentionally to acknowledge the fraught times of the civil rights era, when Ruby Bridges became the first Black child to integrate the New Orleans public school system. She's still alive, by the way, she's 71. This poem is an ekphrasis poem, which is a poem that responds to a piece of art. The best ekphrasis poems do much more than just describe a painting. Like this one, they animate it, granting movement, dialogue, and rich interior lives to the people depicted. Also, every time Zoe and I read this, we were floored by the ending. Here's On History and Scared Children by Chloe Toublan of the Spence School. On History and Scared Children. A girl surrounded by nothing but fear, as we count 1, 2, 3, a man here, a man there, a girl on her way to school, and a grown-ass man who yells profanities and slurs. A girl with books in her hand who is only 5 years old, with her head full of curls and a flowery beret, who only wishes to learn, who only wished to be a kid, to see a kid. She is just a child of a parent who hopes she'll have a better future. She has been offered up to the front lines, all alone. She never cries, she never whimpers. As the heat of the fire burns her face, how is she the leader of a movement? A little girl who just goes to school, just to be in a room of other white kids, to be able to learn or have the same opportunities as a white counterpart. She has to survive a war. She is only 5. She is the first step. She's part of changing the world. She is the leader of the movement, and yet she is a 5-year-old girl with a bow in her hair, threatened to be poisoned daily as a woman holds a black baby doll in a coffin right at Ruby's eye level. Ooh, I just got a chill. This next poem offers another look at immigration. We admired how this short, defiant poem questions the logic and illogic of certain reactions to those who were born elsewhere than the U.S. The first-person perspective of this poem helps us build empathy, which, in my opinion, is one of the most important functions of poetry. Here's My American Dream by Santiago Solis Arona of the Storm King School. My American Dream. And I said the forbidden words. I am a Mexican immigrant in the United States. All the white folks start running away from me. Is it the way my voice sounds when I speak? Or my pronunciation of words that are not mine to say, that they think I'm stealing away from them? Is it my skin, my nose, my lips that make me look like the common enemy? People like me are in cages right now. I know I'm an animal, but I never felt more like one. I never thought of my existence as a threat until I see all the eyes on me when I celebrate it. They're taking us away. I hear my people's pain. But to even call them that has become a threat. I know how this story ends. I've seen it before. But in the meantime, I'll have to yell, kick, and roar.
This poet approaches a difficult subject, the speaker's cancer diagnosis and surgery, with humor, candor, and an incredible energy. It's as if she's reclaiming power from a disempowering situation with every line. The repetition you'll hear sounds like a mantra, another kind of power being claimed with each stage 1, each I am lucky. This is Donald Trump Stole My Ovary by Katie Russell of the Ethel Walker School. Donald Trump stole my ovary. You should feel so lucky that they caught it, as if the weight of possibility does not still linger and burn. I peel off the skin on the side of my right thumb, but you forget Donald Trump stole my ovary. Teenage girls have it worse, says Dr. Chen. Even the sedatives penalize me for my gender. The clock on the wall ticks, mocking me. How can we make her scar disappear? Castor oil? Vitamin E? Was the first question asked on my behalf? I think of it as a trophy. She thinks of it as a burden. Wow, you lost a lot of weight. Did you know he stole it? He stole my future? No, he stole my ovary, my left one. It all repeats. Blood work and white blood cells and cancer markers and CA-125 at 116 instead of 20. Remind me to be grateful. They caught it early after all. The anesthetic courses through my veins. I feel my resentment disappear with every breath of oxygen that comes through the mask. Was the needle filled with vitriol, passed down from generations of survivors? Patient status for intubation, paralyzed, sedated, and unresponsive. They close the door and laugh as I scream, Donald Trump stole my ovary. I hear my prophetic words on a video recording my mother took. I swear that I will become a politician. I'm lucky after all. I apply mascara in the recovery room. A Slavic nurse reminds me of my grandmother. Looking down at the incision reminds me of why I am still bound to the bed. Why do hospitals always smell like death? I'm met with uncanny glances. I'm 17. Why am I learning to walk again? I try to assuage my mother. I learned to take the phone off the speaker when the oncologist calls. I tried to block her number, but she has my email. The doctors come in. Strong. You are strong, so strong. Take Zofran for the nausea. Lactated ringers for hydration. Take heparin. It will prevent blood clots. Take Zemuron. I don't remember what it's for. No pain medication. Even Tylenol poses a risk to my psyche. Exploratory laparotomy. Unilateral salpingo-oophorectomy. Proceed as indicated. 3 organs removed. Yet I am lucky. I am lucky. I am lucky. I am lucky. My mother refused to read out the words on my diagnosis out of superstition. She believes what you say attracts forces. She will never say my diagnosis out loud. Carcinoma, carcinoma, carcinoma. Stage 1, stage 1, stage 1. I am lucky. I am lucky. I am lucky. I remind myself that I am lucky. My breath still cannot find its way out of my lungs sometimes. Every breath mirrors the knife they used to cut me open. Every breath is now another incision. I loved this poem before I remembered that encephalon means brain, vertebrate brain to be exact. I loved it for its music. Just wait until you hear it. Its smart juxtapositions and reversals, raised in a daze, daze in a haze, and its sharp city images. I first read this poem as the experience of walking through a literal city, and it's a successful poem read that way too, but it levels up when we realize it can be read through the lens of brain as city as well, the quirks and emotions contained in and enacted by neurology. Here is the masterful Encephalon Street by Lyle Moser of the Calhoun School. Encephalon Street. Look at the lustrous billboards and grimy train stations, a city of endless neurological relations, from the street lamps set alight by rays of insight to unconscious alleyways on freezing, blacked-out nights. Consider crowds of wasted revelations, comatose, cold sidewalk. Optimism sketched by wide-eyed kids with dried chalk. Comforting, charming fleeces of repression. Hair pieces, air nieces, adolescent depression. See smokestacks, coke, crack, not approached with reproach. Contaminating concepts we're acquainted with, most seething, unkempt aggression, ravaged rampage, love kicked into the gutter, gathered groups governed by rage. Capacity could be channeled, crises could be handled. Instead, they grip the 12 gauge. Inhale, as I take a breath of mental haze, sky full of grays, trash cans of Lay's, white while malaise colors the days, raised by delays, strays in a daze, sniffing praise. Navigation's separation, I know your residential maze, raised in a daze, days in a haze, no time to plot S, tumble like a question through my metropolis of thought, and I still can't discover the answers I've sought. As I was getting ready to write the introduction for this poem, I kept reading it and rereading it and rereading it. There's so much to dig into in this poem, and the more you read it, the more it unfolds. It can be read as a meditation on tenderness in the midst of violence, a reckoning with loss, an undoing of tragedy. Joe and I were both really struck by this poet's ability to synthesize and express these huge and abstract elements of humanity in just a few lines. Reading this poem made us feel things, which is one of poetry's ultimate aims. This is All Life Ends Briefly Evil by Rachel Phan of Choate Rosemary Hall. All life ends briefly evil. After Wallace Stevens, after Hart Crane, after Emile Verhaeren. They took her on a Tuesday, 4 p.m., the train to Suzhou, a bump, a scream, then the long unravel of metal, folding into itself. The screech stretched long enough for the air to memorize it. No one but the police looked at their bodies. No one wanted to know how people break when the world doesn't stop for them. In this red-tainted winter, the wind stings my face a little too much, like it's trying to tell me something, like I could have, should have been on that train too, or at least closer than here. You drowning between the seconds, wait for me. You pressing your face to the glass of the departing train just to see yourself blur in the rain, wait for me. Say it was the weight of snow, the way it rests too heavy on the railings of unfinished bridges. Say the sky opens because we ask it to, not because it's ready. Say nothing. One night, after shoving my brother through the drywall, my father sat at the edge of the kitchen sink until water filled his palms, like he thought he could baptize himself whole. And so I learned that a man on his knees can look too much like prayer. 11 p.m. That Tuesday kept sitting on the back of my neck. I opened the door to a stranger's van. He was missing 2 teeth. He was still breathing. He kept wiping his hands like he thought they wouldn't stop shaking. The silver schizo ribbon dangling from his mirror caught the light like an icy blade. Don't we touch each other just to prove we're still here? Once, I was still here too. The sun was a loose bulb flickering in the fog, pinned by the wires overhead. The van stayed there long after I left. At home, I threw myself on the floorboards like the house would catch me, and I swear I could hear the train still, could hear the metal groaning far through the window, screaming in a voice that almost knew mine. Pain is not to use her old tennis racket because as I hold it, I can feel her hand on it too. In the life before this one, someone said love meant wings. They said when two people stepped onto the tracks, the feathers would come back just in time. Some days I'm still waiting. Some days I hear the hum of the train long after it's gone. It's a long john. It's not too late. In another life, the street lights blink out early. We crossed the rails before the wind could break it, and our feathers grew back by morning. And some days I still wake with wings between my shoulders. Some days I wait for the fall, makes the train sound softer. And morning finds our shoes still damp on the train station, steam rising, your breath too light to hold.
The comments Zoe and I exchanged in the Google Doc for this next poem were mostly sounds. Oof, ugh. Because it is just a gutting, tender poem about the death of a friend and a complicated father relationship. On a technical note, this poet knows how to use line breaks and stanza breaks to maximum devastating effect. Here's Alexandra Stein of the Rye Country Day School with August. August. Sweltering summer heat of August 13th. Sitting beside you on the porch swing, peeling white paint, rickety and rusted. Did you know then? Eating PB&Js down by the old sea shack. August 14th, you mocked your dad, then sunk your teeth into white bread, stung your lips with pickled peppers. Had you decided then? The day I got the call, August 15th, I was down by the sea shack waiting for you. It was your father, his voice in pitches of confusion, drowned under the roar of the ocean, drowned as a son who was never quite his. He cried at your funeral. Not the big, ugly sobs splashed against your scratched sweater after that fight when you told him, go to hell, and refused to speak to him for a week. But quiet, controlled, glassy tears, stream for stream mirroring his blue-striped pocket square. If you were still here, would those tears cascade down your face instead of his? Do you hear these questions? I search for answers in the PB&Js I force down my throat, in the August sunsets down by the sea shack, in the deadened cracks down within your father's eyes. Yes, you hear me. I know this, like I know the battered August winds swirling behind your ashen eyes. I know this, like I know the relationship between father and son is like glass, shattered, gone. I know this like I know the frigid lips of your September ghost brands my forehead. I know this like I knew you.
We were struck by the freshness and confidence in every poem this poet submitted, and it took some time to decide which to choose. We ended up picking this one for the way its sensory details so perfectly evoke the intimacy and intensity of relationship and loss. This is I Used to Think Kisses Were Meant to Be Cold by Mila Pantelides Sola of the Dana Hall School. And I hope I said the name correctly. I used to think kisses were meant to be cold, but hers felt like a brand, like hot iron on my skin wherever she put her lips. And that August, we lay on tilted pillows and dusty sheets for hours. Windows open, dried roses drooped above our heads like dead Jesus watching from the wooden crucifix on the wall. That August, days were spent busy inhaling lavender shampoo and lip balm that tasted like honey and beeswax. And that August, she drew her fingertips across each vertebra of my spine, leaving behind burns on my back and bruises on my collarbone. That August, she kissed me with a white-hot mouth until my lips went numb and my ears filled with the beat of my own pulse, so loud it drowned out the sounds of footsteps in the hallway and a knob turning until my mother's face appeared, frozen in the doorframe. And then I did not touch her ever again. But I know when she looks naked in the mirror, she sees 2 palm-shaped scars burned into her chest from where I pushed her off me. And I found I cannot kiss my own collarbone, which is why I let him do it. But when he asks me about the burns on my back, I mourn. And when he kisses me, all I feel is cold.
We try to pick a variety of poems each year, which is one reason why you should submit again if you're not a senior. A variety of style, tone, subject matter, levels of seriousness to show all the different ways poetry can be effective. We liked this next poem for its plain-spoken, genuine tone and its tender acknowledgement of what it means to grow up. I believe he's here today because the tennis match was canceled. This is Patrick Pisco, Patrick Pisco from the Storm King School with Enjoy the Game. Enjoy the game. I remember when I was younger playing tennis after school, when the court felt bigger and everything felt simpler. I didn't think about the score much. I just hit the ball and ran until I was tired. My swings weren't perfect, but I didn't care. I just wanted to keep playing. Now I stand on the same court and notice more than I used to. The score, the mistakes, the time. I think about that kid sometimes, and how easy it was for him to enjoy the game. I'm still here, still playing, just thinking a little more than before.
We loved this poem from the beginning and also puzzled over its mystery. I learned that the o'o is an extinct Hawaiian bird, a species of honey eater. Its plumage was used to make ceremonial robes for the Hawaiian kings. I think there's mystery in this poem that I still don't understand. And there's also thoughtful use of language, organized in careful tercets, and what could be read as a meditation on the persistence of a people, the song giving strength to carry on. Here's "Oh-Oh" by Marvelous Adara Bigby of the Millbrook School. Oh-Oh. Who coos for blossoms? For songs grow bonds. Songs grow comfort. Crossbows drops from consorts. Who shot the boy fond of joy? Now sob into the bloody brook. Folk on foot flow north, so songs don't rot from snow, so tombs don't pop from the floor, so blowfly don't follow. Blowfly longs for rot, blowfly longs for blood. Songs scorn blowfly, songs scorn loss. Songs grow from honor. So grow bonds, grow comfort, coo for blossoms.
Thank you so much. We have just a couple left. Thank you for your attention. To round out the group of 20, this poem seemed a good choice for its timelessness. It pairs words like silence and peace, flowers and grief, blooms and darkness, to explore the subtle dualities of human existence. Luckily, it also leaves room for hope, another important function of poetry, to remind us not just what is, but what is possible. Here's Aiza Chowdhury from the Storm King School with Choosing to Live. Choosing to live. Awake the depths of the clouds, pouring down rain. Silence seeps through the cracks. Lies deep in your heart a place unknown to man, where the light never gleamed. Silence became peace, folding yourself away into a place no one asked about felt like routine. Accepting it felt right. But even grief's root is within the soil that blooms into more. Even sorrow remembers rain. May flowers grow within the saddest parts of you, where hope once shattered away. Let it consume the sorrow within and bloom where there was once darkness. Let it grow unnervingly slow but natural. Let it bloom not for beauty, not for anyone else, but because something in you chose to live.
Into the pleasure of reading the special category poem this year and heard a little bit about the ghazal already. I'll just say a little bit more about it. It's a form that both Joe and I particularly love, especially Joe, who's written so many beautiful ghazals that you should read. It was a treat to get to read these poems submitted in this category, and also lovely to see this poet, whose work we knew and loved from previous years, had submitted such a spunky and delightful take on the form. So a ghazal is an ancient Arabic verse form that was embraced by medieval Persians, and it's built out of syntactically and grammatically complete couplets. And if you go all in, there's this intricate rhyme scheme as well, that whenever I'm writing one, I don't really do that. You're better at that than I am. You get to mess with the form once you learn the form, though. So each couplet ends on the same word or phrase, which is called the radif, and is preceded by the couplet's rhyming word, the kafiyah, which appears twice in the first couplet. And then the last couplet sometimes includes a proper name, often the poet's. Contemporary ghazal writers often do vary the form a bit. We loved the way this poet aimed his wrestling with the form directly at the form itself, choosing the word ghazal as the repeating word. Please enjoy this poet's smart and cheeky ghazal, Hey You, Yeah You, by Adrian H. Yang of the Harvey School. You. Hey you, I cannot believe that you wanted me to write something so shameless. Ghazal. R.I.P. I pass this honor to the countless deaths caused by the merciless ghazal. Oh, poor me. I am already so busy with my life, and look at this mass. You have no idea how long and hard I tried to write. Godness ghazal. You wrote in the instruction section that I may write this poem, but you should know better, that you're just bullying me to make this ghazal. From the first place, it is such a horrible thing to exist. Since when has poetry had a rule? Well, I guess now there is ghazal. But I don't blame you too much, for I am quite reasonable. You probably wanted to see our creativity. Then here it is, Guzzle. Ta-da! Let me guess. How should we torture our students this year? Oh, I have one. This will never let them write with ease. Guzzle. Mom, I miss you so much. These judges are so evil to my nerves. I would love to be back in your arms, so I will never miss Guzzle. When I write a poem, I usually think of myself as a surgeon, a sort of doctor who cures his mind. But this is too big a disease, Guzzle. If being annoying like the mosquitoes in summer is a crime, oh boy, we know who will go straight to jail. Never release Guzzle. Now's probably when you think ill of my humor, but please don't be mad. I love you very much for reading my humble work, but not you, Ms. Guzzle. And if you were Mrs. Guzzle by any chance, I pity your husband, for he must be so depressed every night that he has to kiss Guzzle. Anyway, thank you very much for putting up with my complaints tonight. I'm aware of my short temper, but I really tried for this spunky piece, Guzzle.
Okay, can we get one more round of applause for all of the amazing poems that we just heard? And just keep it going for our outstanding judges and for reading all of them. That was a lot, I'm sure. Before we announce our standout poems for tonight, we would just like to thank a few more individuals who made tonight feel so special. So I want to first thank Festival Coordinator Alex Van Atkins for organizing the events, including making handmade friendship bracelets and the huge trophies you see to my left. Thank you, Alex. Our head of school, Lisa Shambaugh, and Andy Smith for financial support, as well as Miss Kathy in the business office for helping to order supplies. Yeah, we can wait till the end. Jasmina Gurrier for introducing our judges, Mrs. Brown and the theater crew for setting up this beautiful stage, and to Mr. Kipperman for making the live stream possible. To Chef Andy and his incredible dining staff for providing refreshments, and to Miss Elizabeth Wilson for designing our beautiful event program. We'd like to thank Dr. Rigg, Mrs. Centeno, Mrs. Coleman, and several students, Katie, Izza, and Elspeth for their behind-the-scenes help leading up to the festival, and to our student ushers who helped welcome you tonight, thank you very much. To our judges, Joe and Zoe, thank you for your enthusiasm for student voices and your dedication to uplifting them every year. To everyone here tonight, especially friends from the public and families of finalists who have traveled to be here, thank you for supporting student poets and attending programming that encourages them to find their voice. Lastly, to all students who submitted poems to our contest and to the teachers that encouraged them to do so, thank you. Every year, we are elated to find an outpouring of support from our larger community, and we look forward to welcoming you on the mountain to celebrate our student poets together. Yes, now you can clap. It is now time to announce the top 3 standout poems. These pieces have been selected by judges as the most notable from this year's festival. Our judges have prepared brief comments on each of the 3 poems, and after they announce the winner, we invite each standout poet to the front of the stage if they are here tonight. After the standout poems are read, we will present all awards to the finalists in attendance, and then we will ask that you come up to the stage as well at that point. Thank you.
It was so hard to pick the standout poems, but we did. We picked this poem as a standout, both for the strength of this particular poem, its bravery and clarity, its clear-eyed and frank take on different kinds of intimacy, and because every one of the poems she submitted displayed this kind of confidence and sureness of voice. This standout poem is I Used to Think Kisses Were Meant to Be Cold by Mila Pantelides Sola of the Dana Hall School.
Isa, I'm sorry, I think I said your name wrong. I said Isa, it's Isa. Okay. We picked this next poem as a standout because there was nothing extra in it. Every word and line contributed to the whole gestalt, while still leaving room for the reader to have the pleasure of discovery, especially with its last line, which synthesized many ideas into one compressed line. The love between a daughter and her mother, the passage of time, and togetherness. This standout poem is Unleft Hand by Hannah Sai of the Spence School. And then the final standout poem was one of those poems that offered more and more each time we read it. In workshop, we would say, it keeps opening up. We also loved how this poem kept us a little off kilter. We could never predict where it was going next, but once it got there, it felt right. Our final standout is Mother by Ziming Jenny Chen of the
Please join me in the front as your name is called to accept your award and stand next to Jenny. Our first finalist is Alexander Stein for August, a junior from Rye Country Day School. Neo Patel for Mango Seed, a 10th grader from Pittsgaway High School. Lyle Moser for his Encephalon Street. This is Lyle's second year being honored, and he is a junior from Calhoun. Sanaa Swain for One Who Walks, a 10th grader from Rye Country Day School. Adrian H. Yang for Hey You, Yeah You, a former Storm King student and current junior at the Harvey School. Felix Wong for Empty Path, a 10th grader from the Storm King School. Isa Chaudhry for Choosing to Live, a junior from Storm King School. Patrick Pisco for Enjoy the Game, a junior from Storm King School. And last but certainly not least, Santiago Solis Orona for My American Dream, a senior from Storm King School. Please join us in giving a round of applause for the students, those who are here, but especially those who may be watching from home or in their dorm rooms on Zoom. Congratulations, puppies. This concludes the 10th annual Storm King School Poetry Festival. We are first going to take a picture with all of the poets and the judges at the front, and then we invite family and friends to the stage to take a photo with your loved one. Thank you very much for coming. Have a good night.
That concludes everything.